Hello, adventurer. It's good to see you. You have made it to the morning grind.
Welcome, welcome.
It's the live stream at the beginning of the Geekverse, where we talk about all types of topics in geekdom, gaming, and fantasy, with an emphasis on being constructive and creating the things that we want to exist in the world.
It's all on the grind, Sizemore. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
That's exactly right. There are a lot of adventures to be had today. Dungeons to explore and monsters to slay, and who knows what a random encounter might send our way. That's why we have to prepare, so settle in now for the morning grind with your favorite beverage in hand.
Tea? Or maybe something a little stronger. I've got a few bottles of the old Wynyard left.
Whatever you want. Pull up a chair.
Dude.
If you're feeling fancy, how about a cappuccino? Or a frappuccino? Or how about an espresso?
Just tea, thank you.
Sounds good to me, Gandalf. Whatever you want. I'm just glad you're here.
Everyone is welcome. You can just watch if you want. You don't have to worship anything you don't want to worship.
Thank you, Mike. But be forewarned.
Sometimes we get really strange characters around here.
Wait, what's that you say? Why can't you come and be a part of the stream?
My wife would disown me.
Oh no, I bet she'll be fine with it. Come on in.
Am I scared for my safety? No.
What are we supposed to do?
Everybody do the secret handshake.
Secret cultist handshake.
Oh, now do wizards who love each other.
This, my friend, is a science.
I still don't have kids, but it's fine.
It's all on the grind, son. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
Dude, this would be a sick place to bring the band.
Indeed it would be, Dave. It really would. I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Oh, look, here's someone new.
Is this the cultist meetup?
Yes it is.
Come to hang out? Please accept me. I have nothing else.
Okay, we accept you. Everyone's welcome here.
Brought some snacks.
Well, that makes things even better.
You want some coffee? I don't drink coffee. You sure?
It's cultist coffee.
What makes it cultist coffee? I'm a cultist and I'm drinking it. Oh. Then I'll have some.
What exactly is going on here?
I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome. It's so great to have you. Oh, and look, here comes another stranger.
Can we help you?
Yes, fellow cultists. I could really use some food.
Oh yeah? Welcome. We have donuts.
Oh, it's me. I'm glad I'm here. I'm sure you have a few questions for me, though.
What's your name? Who do you work for? What god do you worship?
Great questions, Rob.
I'm Steve King, and I worship Nyarlathotep.
No, not really. I'm just Heath, and I won't be worshiping anything this morning. But I will be your host. Welcome to the office. We're going to have a great time. I've got my coffee ready, because now it's time for the morning grind.
If you could become a fish, that would be amazing. Then I could command you with my mental fish powers.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It is good to see you. It is another wonderful day here in the office, and I'm feeling good. I was working on, was up early this morning working on some different projects, and there's so much to do. But eventually it'll get done, right? I suppose. I hope your morning has already been off to a good start. Let's see who is all here with us. Daniel is here. Welcome, Daniel, and Zero the Blade, one of our channel members. Thank you so much. And actually, you know what? There's going to be a channel members only stream tonight. You may have already noticed. I finally was able to set that up. I want to be doing that more regularly. It turns out it's difficult for me to do 3 streams in a day. Like on the days when I was trying to set up a members only stream, but if I do the morning grind and I'm also doing a live stream in the evening, it's kind of difficult for me to do 3 streams in a day. So what I decided to do is that, well, some of these times we just need to use some of the slots like in the evenings to have a members only stream. And so tonight we're not talking with Brianna tonight, and I wasn't able to find another someone else to talk to as far as table talk goes and have a discussion. I'm still reaching out to some people, but either that, if no one replies, or declines. But in this case, there was just no reply. So I didn't have another guest for tonight. We're on the off week for Brianna. Brianna is every 2 weeks. And also, I finished The Mage in the Mirror. Now, I may do some Hero Quest soon, some advanced Hero Quest painting, as far as painting goes. And so I decided, hey, you know what? Why don't we just do our gear? Because I've been trying to look at my gear. So we're going to be looking at putting together a trauma pack, because this is our modern day adventurer section. So I used to have a really nice trauma pack, but I lost it, I guess, in the field. And I was really upset about that. But now I guess it's time to actually try to rebuild the trauma kit, because we want to be able to build some of the things that have some of the gear for modern day adventuring. So if you would like to join us tonight, I'm going to be looking at modern day adventuring gear with kind of a focus on putting together a trauma pack again. So what kind of medical kit we need. So if you would like to join us this evening, it'll be at 7 o'clock Central Time, and it will be for channel members. So if you would like to be a part of that and join what we are doing, please do hit the join button. And you get one of the coats of arms by your name, as well as access to members-only streams, some emojis, but then also we're going to be putting things like the World Anvil access for Tales of Rabavania, Theophany, and things like that. And other perks are coming. So if you are interested and you would like to support what's going on here, I would love to have you as a channel member. Tomocrat is here. Hello. Tomocrat says, got into the cultists. Excellent. Got into the cultists and really enjoyed the Yellow King episode. Yeah, now you're talking about season 1, the Yellow Paranoia. That one is widely regarded as the best of the season 1 episodes. I think so. I think Brianna and Brennan do as well. Brianna's the director and co-writer, and Brennan was the editor and the director of photography. And I think we all kind of came to the conclusion that in season 1, the Yellow Paranoia, I believe that was episode 5 or 6, was the best. If you haven't seen the Cultists is the Lovecraftian comedy, the modern day Lovecraftian comedy about a bunch of Lovecraftian cultists here in the modern world who are just trying to worship Cthulhu in a world full of people who don't understand. There are 2 seasons on my channel right now. Each episode is like 5 to 7 minutes long, and there are 10 episodes in season 1 and season 2. And there are also live streams where I talk to the cultist after party, and there are different live streams where I talk to different people from the cast and crew. We had a great time after they aired. I just thought of something I needed to do, so I need to make a note of that. So please do that. I have the yellow sign. I've got yellow sign dice up there from Elder Dice. When we were doing Elder Dice, I thought David created a great looking elder sign. Created a great looking elder sign, but he created a great looking yellow sign. Hey, Stargate Mind. Hey, I saw that. Just a few minutes ago. There was a new new email in my inbox. Thank you. Hey, Joe Russell. Zero Theory. Good morning, Zero Theory. Good to know, because my survival gear is a Batman-based utility belt. I want to talk about the belt-based EDC. I was going to award myself if I got to my weight loss goal by getting a battle belt and start trying to build out. I've got some stuff that it goes on my belt generally for EDC, but I wanted to build out like a scout belt or something like that. But I haven't hit the weight loss goal. My focus has not been what it needs to be over the past couple of weeks. Okay, so let me go over here. Is there anything else I need to say on that? Let's go over here to the morning messages. Just very brief today. Oh, Cringe Random Name is here. Good morning, Cringe Random Name. Good to see you. All right, let's go to the morning messages, and then we'll get started with Dark Sun again. We're talking about the Dark Sun rule book. Kind of getting close to wrapping up, I think, but we will see. Here we go. The Morning Grind is brought to you by World Anvil. For all the game masters out there, World Anvil supports more than 45 systems, including D&D, or you can create your own. It allows game masters to plan, play, and present their adventures and campaigns. Use the code MORNINGGRIND to get 40% off yearly subscriptions. And thank you for being here with me live on the Morning Grind. And if you're watching on replay, welcome to you as well. It's great to have you here. If you're enjoying the Morning Grind, please click the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. It will really help the channel grow, and I would be very thankful. We also have the Ravenkeep Discord server you can join if you would like to be a part of the community. Alright, that's what you need to know. Let's get to the main topic. Let me put out the Ravenkeep server invite. If you are here and you're not part of the Ravenkeep Discord server, it's right there. So I'd love to have you there. Let's breathe and sip. Let's breathe and sip before we get into this. Everybody got your beverage this morning? I got mine. Beverage in hand. Hopefully you've got your favorite. Let's do 2 breaths. Deep inhale, complete exhale. You'll feel better. You'll feel better. Try it. Try it. If you haven't tried it with me, you should try it because you will feel better. This is an opportunity to just take a few seconds and think about breath. You'll feel better. Deep inhale, complete exhale twice, and then take a sip of your favorite beverage. So much better. So much better. Okay, here we are with our Dark Sun rule book. Let me get my windows set up here. By the way, you may have noticed that I was experimenting with several different shorts. I don't know if you watch YouTube shorts, but I think YouTube has been saying that, hey, what we want people to have is trying to push shorts. You know, they want shorts. So I was posting some shorts yesterday, and I've got some more ideas on shorts to make because I was trying to figure out how to make those. And I hope people have been enjoying those. Actually, it seems like there has been a pretty good conversation around them. We've tried to make each short some type of on some kind of topic that's going on in gaming or the Geekverse, and then saying something about it, and then asking what people thought about it. And there's also been some great comments that have been coming in as the result of those. Things about good and evil, and orcs and orcs and tieflings, and the state of evil and that kind of stuff. So, and also, I made those, and of course, the viewership on the channel has tripled over since I put those shorts out. So maybe it's true that YouTube right now is really pushing shorts. So yeah, I've been putting those out. But if you haven't looked at those, of course, you can go over to my channel and say shorts. I don't know if I've put them in a play. No, I think I even have put them in a playlist. There's probably a shorts playlist on the channel, and just watch them all. They seem pretty fun. So if you see those come up, they've been sparking some pretty good conversation. I would love to see you in the comments there. I never did find out what happened to the mystery of the PDFs. I must have been cleaning up and accidentally deleted them yesterday or something like that. Oh, August says all those short videos you put out were fantastic. Keep them coming. Oh, okay. So thank you, August. I saw that August had commented on some of the shorts, so I really appreciate that too. So I'm glad that people have been enjoying those. Hey, Pan, sweet live show. I have enjoyed watching the series. I'm glad. I am very glad. So like I said, I'm experimenting with shorts on this channel, but then also on other channels. They're more of the world building stuff. Okay, here's the rule book. So we've been looking through the rule book, and we actually had a great discussion yesterday on money and equipment. So we still have to look at, and if the conversations are like that in all of the other, in the other topics, this is going to be going great. So we still have to talk about magic, experience, combat, treasure, encounters, NPCs, vision and light, time and movement, and new spells. Now, we may or may not go through all of those, but we are now about to be on magic, and I really want to know how defilers work. So let's go there. I was going to say something else about that, but I forget what it was. Okay, Chapter 7, Magic. Oh, yeah, I know. Thank you. Actually, cringe random name. So this is my first time here interested in learning about the system. So what we found out was that, of course, this is based on AD&D, the second edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, but that there was this book inside this boxed set, because this is a box set that I have the PDF of, and it's going through and basically telling you everywhere the Dark Sun campaign setting varies in rules structure from the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons Player's Handbook. So that's basically what we're doing here. Hey, good morning, Vision. Good to see you. Chapter 7, Magic. The sources of magical energy on Athos are very different from those in other AD&D campaign worlds. Athos is a world without deities, where clerics worship the elemental powers themselves. Despite the brutality that seems infused in its soil, Athos is a fragile world where the very existence of wizardly magic can disrupt and destroy the land's ability to support life. Priestly magic. The priests of Dark Sun worship the beings that inhabit the elemental planes, those of earth, air, fire, and water. In Dark Sun campaigns, priests' spells fall into 4 spheres associated with those elemental planes, and a separate sphere of the cosmos. The last sphere is by far the largest, though the other 4 hold generally more powerful, more specialized spells. All priests on Athos thus draw magical energy, the energy which they cast spells, from the elemental planes. So here we've got, so these are the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons spells. Sphere of Earth, Sphere of Air, Sphere of Fire, Sphere of Water. So we've got a different organizational structure here. Sphere of the Cosmos. Clerics and druids have major access to the sphere of the element they worship, plus minor access to the sphere of the cosmos. Templars have major access to all spheres, but gain spells more slowly. There are no deities in Dark Sun. Those spells indicate some contact with the deity instead. That indicate some contact with the deity instead reflect contact with a powerful being of the elemental planes. Okay, wizardly magic. Maybe we are finally getting to it. Stargate Mind says the best way to start a Dark Sun character is the adventure, the will and the way. When psionics is learned, has the chance to produce a wild talent. Earn this benefit in character backstory or creation. The will and the way. Is that in this box set? There are some, I noticed there is, I think, an adventure inside the Game Master's Guide. Al-Qadim. Brent. Good morning, all. Good morning, Brent. Good to see you. Vision. Yes. Thank you for reminding me, Vision. Please do hit the like button. And if you're not subscribed here, I would love to have you subscribed. It would really help out. Stargate Mind says, Defiler, Preserver, and Elemental Forces are done well in Dark Sun. Note that Al-Qadim's elemental spell crossover well with Dark Sun. Al-Qadim. Now, I think I said something that was nobody correct. I think I said something that was terribly wrong. Like originally when I was looking at Dark Sun, like originally thinking about looking at Dark Sun like 2 weeks ago or something like that. I was like, Dark Sun. Didn't they move that over into Forgotten Realms? And obviously they haven't. But is Al-Qadim, so was I thinking about Al-Qadim? Is Al-Qadim the one that is now part of Forgotten Realms? Let me look this up. Al-Qadim. I think I had confused those two in that moment. So Al-Qadim is a campaign setting for the Dungeons & Dragons role-playing game, which was developed by Jeff Grubb and Andrea Hayday for TSR and was first released in 1992. Al-Qadim uses 1001 nights as a theme and is set in the land of Zakhara, called the Land of Fate. It's a blend of the Muslim caliphates, the stories of legend, and the wealth of Hollywood, and the wealth of Hollywood cinematic history. Zakhara is a peninsula on the continent of Faerun in the world of Toril, the locale of the Forgotten Realms campaign setting. Okay. Although Al-Qadim is designed to stand alone or be on its own or be added to any existing campaign setting. Okay. So that's the correction there. So when you heard me say that, some people, I figured, I didn't, obviously I thought, okay, that wasn't true after I said it on stream, but nobody called me out. But I was thinking of Al-Qadim. Al-Qadim. Okay, wizardly magic. Wizards draw their magical energies from the living things that give and life-giving elements around them. Preservers cast spells in harmony with nature using their magic so as to return to the land what they take from it. Defilers care nothing for such harmony and damage the land with every spell they cast. Defiling. Defilers wield magic with no concern for their dying world. Instead, defilers are to blame for much of Athas's current state. With each spell they cast, defilers draw magical energy from the life forces of plants in the vicinity and channel it to their own selfish ends. Even the Sorcerer Kings, however, are not the most dread users of defiler magic. The Great Dragon's defiler magic is so powerful that it destroys living animals as well. All magic cast by defilers up to 20th level, including all 1st through 9th level spells, destroy plant life only. Any creatures in the area, however, suffer great pain. Casting defiler spells. Spells cast by defilers use all the necessary verbal, somatic, and material components. The absence of any of these precludes the successful casting of the spell. The range, duration, casting time... use all verbal... Yeah, okay. The range, duration, casting time, area of effect, and saving throws remain unchanged. When a defiler casts a spell, all vegetation in the sphere around him turns to ash. The radius of the sphere depends on two things: the abundance of vegetation in the area and the level of the spell cast. Are we about to get a table on this? Defiler magical destruction table. Yes, we are. Yes, okay, so Tomocrat is confirming that it was Al-Qadim I was thinking about. Thank you, Tomocrat. So this is Defiler magical destruction table. Terrain type, spell level. Is this telling us the radius of destruction? Maybe it is. The number shown is the radius. Yes, radius in yards around the defiler where all vegetation is turned to ash. The effect is instantaneous with the casting of the spell. Note that these numbers adjust for specific situations. For example, in a city, the mud pits might have no more vegetation than the stony barrens, while the gardens of the Sorcerer King will be equal to a teeming forest. So a level 1 spell, 3, we go out to, because we need more vegetation. So in a forest, a level 1 spell is 1 yard. Now that's 1 yard radius, right? Yeah, it's a 1 yard radius, up to a 3 yard radius. But Stony Barrens casting a 9th level spell requires a 30 yard radius and a minimum of a 10 yard radius. Actually, you get to that pretty fast. You get to that 10. So Scrub Plains, Verdant Belts, 1, 2, 3, but then you jump up to 10 pretty fast. Note that these numbers adjust. Okay, so casting multiple spells from the same location. If a defiler casts more than 1 spell from the same location, the radius of destroyed vegetation expands around him. Consult the defiler's magical destruction table for the highest spell cast from that location, then add 1 yard for every other spell cast. Spells equal to the highest level spell are treated as additional spells. For example, the defiler Griffyen casts a lightning bolt, a 3rd level spell, while in the Scrub Plains. The area of ash around him will be 4 yards. In the next round, he casts a magic missile spell, expanding the radius of ash by 1 yard, bringing the total of burnt earth to 5 yards. In the 3rd round, Griffyen decides to unleash Advanced Illusion, a 5th level spell. Since this is the highest level spell cast from this location, the area of ash is recalculated. 5 yards for the 5th level spell, plus 1 yard each for the 2 lower level spells cast, for a total radius of 7 yards worth of ash. Stargate says the Ithilid, Aboleth, and Dark Sun halflings hold the oldest lore on psionics. Essentially, Dark Sun halflings use too much luck when controlling or powering these magics. Zero Theory says, I guess they can always cast regardless of the vegetation around. It looks like they can always cast. It looks like that way, because it doesn't say that you can't. Even in Stony Barrens, you're just consuming a whole bunch of area around you. Stargate Mind says, the spells for growing are very druid friendly. The character can become very wealthy from farming. Oh, wait. Effects on living creature. Though only plants are destroyed within the radius, living creatures are caused great pain. Any being in the radius of the Defiler's magic suffers an immediate initiative modifier penalty equal to the level of the Defiler spell cast. No matter how high the resulting initiative roll, though, any being from the radius of the Defiler's magic suffers an immediate initiative modifier penalty equal to the level of the Defiler spell cast. No matter how high the resulting initiative roll, though, the pain can never keep the character from performing an action during a round. The initiative penalty only postpones when the action occurs. And that's says no matter how high the resulting initiative roll, you go on low initiative in Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. That's why it says no matter how high the initiative roll, because you're looking for low initiative rolls. Ash. The ash created by the Defiler magic is black and gray, completely devoid of life or life-giving elements. Nothing will grow in an area of ash for 1 year. The ash itself is very light and usually blows away, leaving behind a lifeless circular scar on the ground. Even when the ash is gone, though, the Defiler's magic has leached all life-giving nutrients from the soil, so an area defiled may take many years to recover life, if it ever does. Trees of Life. The Tree of Life is a mighty and magical tree enchanted by a powerful priest or wizard. The magical life forces of the Trees of Life make them virtually eternal. The greatest trees of life are ancient. Many solitary trees predate the village around them, and others stand in entire groves by a quiet testimony to the great wizards of a bygone age. Present-day wizards and priests still create new trees to enrich the world, or in the case of defilers, to pervert their powerful life forces to further their destructive evil ambitions. A tree of life, in essence, is a living magical item. It stores and channels energy from all 4 elemental planes. Thus, though wizards can create a tree of life, only clerics and druids can tap its special powers. Special powers. Any cleric or druid in contact with a tree of life receives from the tree 4 spells, each of which may be cast once per day. The spells gained are Heal, Augury, Divination, and Magic Font. Destroying a Tree of Life. I guess that means you can touch it, you get those spells, and you can walk away with them. You don't have to be in contact to cast it. It says you receive it. Destroying a Tree of Life. A Tree of Life has 2 distinct parts, its physical form and its life force. The stump, branches, roots, and leaves of a Tree of Life make up its physical form and are not inherently magical. The same thing that would destroy a normal tree will destroy the physical form of a Tree of Life, such as chopping it down or burning it, with one exception. Neither climate nor terrain affect a Tree of Life. One will flourish in the middle of a desert or on a rocky mountain face, regardless of drought, severe weather, natural lightning, earthquakes, etc. Destroying the Tree of Life's force is much more difficult. A Tree of Life at any stage of growth, even sprout, has 100 hit points, 10 levels of 10 hit points each, that can only be affected by life-draining magic. The wizard spells Vampiric Touch, Enervation, Trap the Soul, and Energy Drain can each drain hit points. Death Spell, Finger of Death, Limited Wish, and Raise can each snuff out 3 levels of the target tree, and a wish slays the tree. The priest spells that affect the tree's life are Raise Dead, and its reverse Slay Living, Restoration, and its reverse Energy Drain, and Resurrection. Undead creatures that have Energy Drain attack can affect the life force of a Tree of Life. Is Defiler Ash the substance that makes up the Sea of Silt, maybe, by description? Could be. We kind of skipped the geographic description of the Sea of Ash, but it could be. Hey, Draco. Good to see you, Draco. Good morning. Stargate Mind says, I think they pulled solar energy to use the Defiler magic. A great adventure premise is to restore the dying sun for the realm. They pulled the solar energy to use the Defiler magic. A great adventure premise is to restore the dying sun for the realm. Defiler magic also affects the tree's life force. Every level of Defiler magic cast within 100 yards of a Tree of Life drains 1 level of a life force from the tree. This negates the effect of the spell. This negates the effect the spell would have otherwise on surrounding vegetation. Oh, so you could plant these. That's why it says that the defilers might plant them in order to enhance their own destructive power. So you could plant these trees around and use them. The life force of the Tree of Life is completely snuffed out if it falls below 0 levels or hit points. The life force will not be generated if either of these numbers fall below 0, in which case both the life force and the physical form of the tree dies. Both the Tree of Life's physical form and its life force regenerate. If the tree's physical form is damaged or destroyed, it will grow back to full size. The tree will regrow at a rate of 1/4 of its full size per week. A sprout will appear one day, grown to a sapling in 1 week, will grow to a young tree in 2 weeks, and then to its full-size adult tree in 3. After 4 weeks, the Tree of Life will revert to its true form, an ancient and mighty tree. No matter how many times the physical form of the tree is destroyed, it will always grow back in 4 weeks. The life force of a Tree of Life regenerates 1 level, 10 hit points, per hour. That's fast. It regenerates even if the life force reaches 0. But not if it goes below 0. Trees of life in the world of Athos. Although originally created by wizards to combat the destruction of nature, trees of life are now heavily exploited by defilers who use the tree's powerful life forces to charge their defiling spells. Sorcerer kings often have large gardens within their cities, even within their palaces, where groves of trees of life tend and are maintained. Thus, defilers can exercise evil magic from their citadels without decimating the cities below, a desperate measure to keep their tiny verdant belts as plentiful as possible. Another thing created with good intention, but now used by the defilers and the sorcerer kings. Okay, now we've got magic items. The use of magic items never causes a defiling effect on the surrounding grounds. However, defilers who create magic items do cause destruction at the time of manufacture. That makes sense. Scrolls found as part of a treasure almost always will be papyrus and will lack a case of any kind, unless otherwise noted. As such, these delicate scrolls often do not survive the combat in which they are worn. The spells on a scroll can either be wizard or priest, as indicated in the Dungeon Master's Guide, and should be determined using the random spell list in Appendix 1 of this book. Armor type, metal armor. Okay, well, all right, so much for magic. We're going on to experience now. Stargate Mind says, over a decade ago, I tied the sci-fi series Stargate to the Sea of Silt. Egyptians in exile flee to Dark Sun in hopes for a new civilization. Oh! I never got deep into Stargate. I watched a little bit of it, though. Let's see. In the Dark Sun game world, substantial experience point awards are made available to characters based on not only their defeat of monsters, but also on their role-playing use of racial and class abilities. The latter awards help promote better role-playing of distinctions between races and classes. Experience for defeating monsters is divided normally among party members in a Dark Sun campaign, and individual awards should be considered for every character based on the following guidelines. So the individual class awards for XP. Individual race awards. Negative XP. You got a dwarf who ignores present focus. Pursue present focus, 20 XP a day. Ignore present focus, negative 100 XP per day. Complete major focus, 5,000. Dwarves do not consider any mission a major focus unless it lasts at least 1 year. Do we have other negatives up here? I don't see other negatives. Individual class awards. individual race awards. So what does this mean? Let's see about Elf. An elf's role-playing revolves around his self-reliance and relationship with outsiders. Outsiders include anyone not of the elf's tribe, even other elves. Thus, an elf on Athos should not wish to gain friendship and trust with every character he meets. To the contrary, he tests the trustworthiness of outsiders who display some redeeming characteristic, redeeming to an elf, that is. Elves also perform such tests on outsiders who try to befriend them. Elven PCs should put outsiders to the test of trust or loyalty whenever possible, rather than trust them from the onset just because they're another player character. The trust of an elf is not easily earned. Subtle tests of trust include the following: entrusting the outsider with a confidential piece of information, leaving a valuable item out in the open in clear view to see if the outsider takes it, arranging a secret rendezvous, then making sure the outsider shows up in the right place and on time, asking the outsider to deliver a message or item. Life-threatening tests of trust include the following: letting oneself get captured by Gith to see if the outsider attempts a rescue. This is a favorite among elves of the Stony Barrens. Faking unconsciousness after a battle to see what care the outsider provides. Making certain part of the water supply is lost on a cross-desert journey, then seeing if he gets a fair share of what's left. Challenging a particularly deadly enemy to see if the outsider stands with him or flees. An elf will also recognize displays of trust and loyalty that are not planned in advance. If an outsider fails one or more tests of trust, an elf player character should not consider him a friend and should never retest him. However, if the series of tests are passed, the elf player can declare the outsider a friend. No further tests will be necessary unless the friend severely breaks the trust. All right. So we've got information on... let's look at Thry-Kreen. I think those are cool. Stargate Mind says, plane shift, gate, or teleport is the D&D equal to the Stargate found in Egypt. Guess they want dwarves to stay focused. Yeah, they must. On tasks that will take 1 year or more. In AD&D, it was like 3 million to get to high levels, not 300K. That means game sessions were 10 times the length or XP awards compared to 5e. There's also the Psi Power wormhole. I guess that's for Stargate-like. That's another Stargate-like power. Thry-Kreen. Thry-Kreen's natural combat abilities are formidable and shouldn't be overlooked in favor of human tactics. A player whose Thry-Kreen uses natural combat abilities will gain the awards listed. Again, instances must be related to the adventure to warrant an award. Each creature slain and taken back to a camp or nest for food also warrants an experience point award. The hit dice or relative toughness of the creature has no effect on the award. Okay, combat. Athos is a violent world, as we've been talking about a lot. Those who wish to survive must fight, and only those who fight well survive. PCs will find themselves battling a lone monster in the desolate seas of sand, a polished gladiator in the roaring arenas, or legions of combatants in full-scale war. Every major city on Athos has an arena for holding gladiatorial games. The Sorcerer Kings uses games to entertain their slave and noble populations and to hold barbaric executions and trials by combat. On Athos, life is cheap, and the champions of the arena are the popular folk heroes of the age. Player characters may well find themselves thrust into the arena as prisoners or gladiators. Success can mean great things. Failure means certain death. More powerful player characters may become champions or may themselves own entire stables of gladiators. The customs of every arena are unique, but some generalities may be drawn from the various matches made from the treatment of slaves bound for the arena floor. Games. All arenas feature spectacles that pit gladiatorial slaves against one another or against ferocious beasts. Wagering on these games is the sport of sorcerer kings, nobles, merchants, and peasants alike. Matinees? Matinees feature very simple combats, pitting inexperienced gladiators or prisoners against each other in a struggle to the death. Matinee warriors are never well armed or armored. Combatants who do well in matinee games sometimes rise to higher contests or are traded from house to house. At times, the Sorcerer King, master of the games, uses matinees for simple executions as well. Matinees whet the spectator's appetite for more skilled games to come. So this is all different types. So we've got a grudge match here. Gladiators who have met before and survived are often called upon to fight again. Wagering on grudge matches is especially heavy. Most often, grudge matches aren't fought to the death, only to severe injury. Thus, combatants may fight again. Vision says, I get mixed feelings when it comes to lone wolf characters. They need to build trust. I get the theme behind it, but I've never seen a character who doesn't trust the other characters not slow down the game. I kind of agree with that. I don't ever want to play or like playing a character that is going to inherently not trust the other player characters, or is going to have some type of problem and generate some type of strife with the other player characters, at least over any type of medium or longer term, because I think it does slow down the game and just isn't exactly what I'm trying to do. I'd rather the player characters be sort of on the same side. Stargate Mind says, this is my favorite wild talent. Wormhole is badass. As an elf archer with that talent, it was amazing. Zero Theory says, you don't want to be friction to the smoothness of the adventure. Yeah, that's kind of that's a good way of phrasing it, I think, Zero Theory. You don't want to be a friction to the smoothness of the adventure. You're creating friction if your character is the one who's keeping the character party from doing whatever it's supposed to be doing on the adventure. Trial by combat, matched pairs, bestial combat. Gladiators and prisoners are often sent to the arena against savage beasts. The Sorcerer King sponsor expeditions to capture wild animals or buy them from the many caravans that come to the cities. The crowd finds these bloody affairs particularly enjoyable. Test of Champions. A test of champions is often the culmination of the day's gladiatorial games. A popular and powerful gladiator is selected to face a series of unusual tests. They may be as simple as fighting several demi-human or animal opponents at once, or more elaborate contests against magical or psionic opponents in a maze of walls assembled just for the occasion. Stables. Most noble and merchant houses have stables of slaves. These slaves combat each other as well as gladiators, criminals, wild animals, and intelligent animals sponsored by the Sorcerer King himself. Typical stables of slaves have between 10 and 100 potential arena combatants. The sponsoring noble house provides the slaves with adequate food, clothing, and housing. Nobles want their investment to pay off, so gladiatorial slaves seldom want for the necessities of life. The slaves are trained for 12 hours virtually every day in the courtyards of this noble's estate, overseen by armed guards and their instructors. Every slave in the stable receives minimal training to be armed and armored combat before being sent to his first matches. Those who show promise and who survive the dangerous early days of their careers are further trained in specialized combat techniques. This training emphasizes skilled unarmed combat, raw endurance, and specialization in area weapons such as trident, qualbone, and net. Slaves who have survived several matches and undergone this more extensive training are usually gladiators, levels 1 to 4, usually, and are the mainstay of the stable's arena warriors. Every stable has its champion or champions. A champion is a gladiator of at least 5th through 20th, the most experienced warrior in the stable. When a single arena hosts multiple high-level gladiators, rivalries can develop. Usually, rivalries between champions within a single stable are not allowed. One stable will not arrange a match against 2 or more of its own, no matter how fierce the rivalry. The champion of a stable has performed well in all matches described above and has gained the attention of every other noble house. Joe Russell says it comes down to how the player handles it. It's up to the players to still find their own way to cooperate, even if the character doesn't trust other PCs. Zero the Blade says, I will never forget a campaign where the party distrusted the paladin, but loved the rogue. Stargate Mind says to remove Kyle's problematic issues with Dark Sun, make the sun power all magic or psionics, good or evil, preserve or defy. It's all powered by the already dying sun. That raises the stakes. Is that going to fix? You think that will fix the problem? We do have some information on wagering here. When player characters want to wager on gladiatorial games, the DM may handle it in one of two ways. If all players agree, they can roll up the gladiator in question and play the match out themselves. Otherwise, the DM must determine the outcome randomly. The odds on any particular contest will vary, but a player character can rarely do more than double or triple his original bet. Battling undead in Dark Sun. On Athos, undead are still just that. Dead beings that are somehow animated to function among the living. In the Dark Sun campaign world, undead come in two varieties, mindless and free-willed. Mindless creatures are corpses or skeletal remains animated by some character or creature for its own purposes. When encountered, skeletons and zombies are always mindless, controlled by their animators. Skeletons and zombies are never free-willed. Undead monsters created using animate dead spells are always mindless. Free-willed undead are usually very powerful creatures with great intellect and ambition. Every free-willed undead creature in Dark Sun is unique. Each has its own reason for existing and its own set of strengths and weaknesses. Athos has no ghouls. Athos has no ghouls, shadows, wights, ghasts, wraiths, mummies, specters, vampires, ghosts, or liches, though PCs may encounter a host of monsters very much like them. Confronting and defeating a free-willed undead creature in Dark Sun is always interesting and challenging. Powerful undead on Athos break all familiar molds. Quite often, free-willed undead have minions, either living creatures or mindless undead that they have animated. Sometimes Athos's powerful undead operate undiscovered among the living, while some have even become powerful allies of the Sorcerer Kings themselves. Athasian clerics draw their spell-casting powers from the elemental planes of earth, air, fire, and water. They can tap the positive material plane for augury, other information, and the ability to turn undead creatures. Templars draw their magical power through the Sorcerer Kings, who in turn draw upon the negative material plane. Templars cannot turn undead, but they can control them. Yeah, we saw that ability. Druids have no power over undead. Clerics on Athos A cleric on Athos wishing to turn undead must challenge the creature with the power of his elemental plane. A cleric of earth, for instance, must throw dirt or dust toward the undead, but he need not strike them, so no attack roll is needed. A cleric of water must splash water at the undead, and a cleric of fire must toss ash or hold forth a burning object. One of the great advantages of being a cleric of the air is that he can turn undead with a breath. Once the character has made the challenge, he rolls for turning the undead normally. Free-willed undead are turned according to their relative power, which is measured by their hit dice only. Hey, Vanessa. Good to see you. Colonel says, why no liches? Zero Theory says, sounds like a way of saying, hey, don't turn this into a gothic horror. Yeah, like, Athos has no ghoul. See, seems like to me like a ghoul would be something that would be out there in the desert. And I'm not sure why mummy isn't, and then no liches either. Vampires, maybe I understand, but not like the gothic types that you were talking about. Turns this not into like a gothic horror. So no gothic horror type of vampires. Okay, character death. Dark Sun is a particularly dangerous place, one where character death is frequent and at times gruesome. High PC mortality rates find some relief in the character tree. A fallen player character is immediately replaced with another of similar level, a character with which the player is already familiar. Still, as deadly as the world of Athos is, player characters, especially though at low level, may die too frequently. Thus, in the Dark Sun campaign, DMs should use the hovering at death's door optional rule, the so-called neg 10 rule, presented below. I remember death at neg 10. DMs may find that their Dark Sun campaign has become too deadly. Too many player characters are dying. If this happens, you may want to allow characters to survive for a short period of time, even after their hit points reach or drop below 0. With this rule, a character can remain alive until his hit points reaches negative 10. As soon as the character reaches 0 hit points, though, he falls to the ground unconscious. Thereafter, he automatically loses 1 hit point each round. His survival from this point on depends on quick thinking of his companions. If they reach the character before he has reached negative 10, and then spend at least 1 round tending to his wounds, staunching the flow of blood, the character does not die immediately. If the only action is to bind the wounds, the injured character no longer loses 1 hit point per round, but neither does he gain any. He remains unconscious and vulnerable to damage from further attacks. Athos shares qualities with the movie Dune. We were talking about that. Was that yesterday or the day before? We were talking about different inspirations for this campaign setting, and we thought that Dune must be part of that. Lord Fullmine says, I think they dropped the unique undead angle after a while. They eventually had dwarven banshees as a standard type of undead. Oh, hey, Nico. Good to see you. If a cure spell of some type is cast upon him, the character is immediately restored to 1 hit point, no more. Further cures do the character no good until he has had at least 1 day of rest. Until such time, he is weak and feeble, unable to fight, and barely able to move. He must stop and rest often. Can't cast spells. The shock of near death has wiped them from his mind, and is generally confused and feverish. He is only able to move and hold somewhat disjointed conversations. If a heal spell is cast on the character, his hit points, which is different from cure, so this was cure spell. If a heal spell is cast on the character, his hit points are restored as per the spell, and he has full vitality and wits. Any spells he may have known are still wiped from his memory, however. Even this powerful spell does not negate the shock of the experience. Waging wars. The sands of Athos have been stained red with the blood of 1,000 campaigns of conquest. Wars are waged over food, water, territory, and less. Sorcerer kings pit armies of slaves against one another, watching with cold-hearted pleasure as hundreds meet their deaths, often more than not over some wager or just for the enjoyment of the spectacle. Athos is a violent world where the hand of diplomacy bears a sword or chakata. Player characters will eventually be called upon to fight wars, either as soldiers or as the commanders of armies. Once players must deal with large numbers of troops, waging wars of defense or expansion in the Dark Sun campaign world, the DM should institute battle system miniature rules to fight these wars. Adopting battle system removes the outcome of important battles from the hands of the dungeon master and puts them on the tabletop where they belong. Followers. Although fighters and gladiators automatically gain followers when they reach higher levels, any character, regardless of race or class, may find himself at the head of a ragtag army of followers. The political fortunes of Dark Sun characters can rise and fall rapidly. Military might keeps powerful forces at bay and gives a character the strength to affect large populations and areas of Athos. A warrior's followers almost never arrive with all of their equipment. Most of the time, more often they join the warrior with nothing more than the clothing on their back, but in general, they are highly motivated to follow the warrior and will fight with him regardless of the equipment provided. Obviously, a warrior will want to arm and armor his followers and see to it that they are well fed and housed in order to keep them in premium fighting condition. But circumstances and finances sometimes leave little choice. So now we have piecemeal armor. Dark Sun characters seldom, if ever, wear complete suits of metal armor. The reasons are manifold, but focuses primarily on the oppressive heat, and Athesian sun, and the scarcity of metal. It is not uncommon, at least among heroic sorts, for a character to wear scavenged portions of armor, however. Determining the correct armor class for one in piecemeal armor. I think this was also in the, or something similar. It may have been the same rules. It was also in like the Complete Fighter's Handbook. Determining the correct armor class for someone in piecemeal armor can thus be very important. Each type of armor piece has a specific AC modifier associated with it. When a piece of armor is worn, that modifier is subtracted from the character's base armor class, usually 10, to determine his actual AC. Thus, a character who is exploring some ancient ruins and finds an old, battered breastplate from a suit of full plate armor would be able to don it, reducing his AC by 3 places. No more than one piece of armor may be worn to protect any specific region of the body. Thus, it would be impossible for a character to wear 2 breastplates, of course, and claim the double bonus to his AC class. This chart above indicates the AC bonuses associated with any given piece of armor. So I can't, it's one of my pet peeves is the use of mail attached to all these different things. To me, mail is just chain. I don't even like the term chain mail. In Rabivania, I just use the term mail. So one arm, I guess 2 legs, 1 leg. I guess like if you have male chausses, one chauss isn't going to help you with if you're wearing mail. But 2 legs worth of chausses, studded leather, 2 arms. I guess that's a good table to have. It does let you cobble things together. Does it have like, padded armor? So if you say padded armor is 2, breastplate, if it's really a breastplate of padded armor. Some people will like that. I would like that. I would have liked that, especially at certain points in gaming. Because I think I'm a bit more general now, but how do you cobble together all of your armor? GURPS is big on this as well, of course. It's got hit locations and everything else. So exactly, if you're playing with that level of detail, what exactly you're wearing on what part of the body when it gets hit becomes important. But this is just combining it all into an AC. Well, mail, to me, mail is it's what most people call chain mail. That's just what mail is. But it seems like it was a Victorian era thing to call particular types of armor mail. So that's when I think the idea of there being plate mail, your plate mail, or your ring mail, or your scale mail, or your splint mail. And I think tabletop games and especially role-playing games tended to adopt that. So that's why, like in Rabivania, I just use the term mail, but I write it M-A-I-L-L-E. And that's chain. That's your chain, what people would call chain mail. That's just mail. And then if it's just plate, you don't say plate mail, just say plate armor or scale armor or splint armor, right? Or to me. And of course, since then, also, like studded leather kind of entered my vocabulary because of Vagxanadu, that game that we played, the NES game. I really like Vagxanadu, and studded leather was there. But whether or not studded leather, since all of this there's been so much more research in armor and weapons and armor since people started putting together these tables, although this is all entered our kind of vernacular. But like, was studded leather really a thing? There's been a lot of discussion about that, and it might not have been. And even ring mail. Was ring mail even something that existed? Arguably not. It might in a fantasy world. But some of them are likely misinterpretations of artistic depictions. Like you might be looking at something that says, hey, this is a studded leather kind of thing, but it's actually a brigandine. It's an artistic depiction of a brigandine. Or ring mail or ring armor. did ring armor exist, or is that a misinterpretation of somebody's depiction of mail? If somebody's wearing chainmail in an artistic depiction, medieval artistic depiction, some people may have misinterpreted that as ring mail. All of that's an interesting topic we should cover on the Morning Grind one day. There was that weapons and armor guide for AD&D, which kind of gives you all of the classic, very classic fantasy terms for arms and armor, whether or not they existed. Sable Phoenix says the OSR, it just uses 3 armor classes: leather, chain, and plate. It's more accurate. Yeah. I can't. That's why I can't do it in anything I write. I can't do it in anything I write. I don't use it in general conversation, but I certainly don't do it in anything that I write. It's like calling it mail or chain. Yes, exactly. Mail in medieval context means armor made out of chain. I completely agree, Sable Phoenix. Nico, I can't imagine somebody wearing chainmail in Dark Sun. All of the illustrations has people almost naked. The one arm thing is probably something that gladiators use a lot, right? Yeah, at least classically, right? Got one arm that's something. So important considerations. Although piecemeal armor is lighter than full suits of armor, it can still be quite heavy and cumbersome. Breastplates weigh 1/2 the weight of the complete suit of armor type, and each arm or leg piece weighs 1/8 of the weight of the original suit. Characters wearing piecemeal metal armor are also subject to exhausting effects of Athos's hot climate. A character with armor over more than 2 limbs or wearing a breastplate is subject to the full effects of the Dark Sun's savage heat. A character with armor over more than 2 limbs or wearing a breastplate is subject to all of those heat rules. Okay, lots of stuff on treasure. Okay, treasure and then encounters. We still haven't actually gotten to the to the rules, I think, about like survival. Well, we saw survival proficiencies, but I think there's more on that. Vision and light, time and movement. Okay, so there's more to talk about here. So what's today? Today Tuesday? Yeah, I think today's Tuesday. Tomorrow is World Building Wednesday. So then I guess on Thursday we will continue with this. So did we finish? So we finished money. Some of these chapters are going by fast. So I guess we will probably go through the rest of this book. So experience, combat, character death, we just went through. Piecemeal armor. So chapter 10. So on Thursday, then we'll start with chapter 10, treasure. We're going to be working on World Building Wednesday tomorrow, and I believe taking a look at the Tales of Rabavania bestiary. Then I'm not sure where we're going to go from there, because I've got to get some rules in there in order to actually finish that book. So after that, we may take a look at some rules there, but also I am eager to go ahead and start working on the Theophany World primer that we have, which is the world that will tell the story of the fall of Lucifer, which I think is going to be popular here on YouTube. Hey, Neutromancer. Good morning, party people. Michael of St. Joseph says, it's kind of funny to me how fantasy desert settings has everyone almost naked. In real life deserts, almost everyone is protected almost everyone is covered to protect from the sand and sun. Yeah, that's true. the gowns and things like that to keep the sun off of you. Yep, we did. We are just about done here. Nico says, I suppose a more Caribbean jungle setting would make more sense for naked people. Okay, so like I was saying earlier at the beginning of this, tonight we were going to be doing some modern day adventuring equipment look tonight, though that is a members only stream tonight at 7 o'clock p.m. We're going to be working on getting our modern day adventuring gear together. So if you are a gearhead or just enjoy gear, hey, I do adventuring gear. We'll be looking at modern day adventuring gear, and we'll be starting with a medical pack, trying to assemble a medical or a trauma pack. I had a great one and I lost it. And so now I'm trying to get my gear back in order to be able to go camping, hiking on adventures and things like that. So I hope that you have enjoyed this. Yep. Well, thank you. Thank you very much for being here. I have loved it. Let me put the Discord server link again for everybody. So if you are here, please do like and subscribe. If you are not subscribed, I would really appreciate it. Discord. Join the Discord server. Please like, subscribe. I'm not sure how many likes we actually have on the stream. We have 23 people watching. So if you have less than 23 likes on the on the live stream here, I would appreciate it if you would hit like, and also consider becoming a channel member. And if you do, I will see you tonight at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Time. We'll just hang out and take a look at gear and see what we can assemble. All right, everybody. I hope you have a productive and creative